Hello again, and what is hip? And welcome back to another video. And can you believe that we are at the start of a new year? We have finished 2023 and we are now entering 2024. It is crazy. But you know what else is crazy? The amount of stuff that I have picked up over the holiday season. And I know I say this every pickups video, but it never ceases to be true. So let's just get right into it. But yeah, you know, we had Black Friday, we had a whole bunch of holiday sales. There were so many things going on, and it seems like there were better deals leading up to Black Friday than the week of Black Friday itself. It was very strange. I mean, I bought most of this stuff before Black Friday even hit. But let's just get right into it. So we'll start with the Switch games here. And I actually got a decent amount of Switch games. So starting it off strong, we have Everybody 1-2 Switch. Now, I'm going to say something maybe slightly controversial. I love the 1-2 Switch series. I think it has some really strong ideas. The first one was definitely a tech demo. It was not really a game. This one really did expand things. It's like Nintendo's version of Jackbox, you know? Because you can use your smartphone on this in addition to the controllers, and you can have like 8 players and 100 players. It's crazy, and it's like it's meant for people who aren't avid gamers. Kind of like the Wii was with Wii Sports. You know, it's very accessible, very inviting, and that's this game's strong suit, I think. And it can be a lot of fun in these social situations, and that's why I bought this. It was only $9.99, so you know that also helped. I would not pay $30 for this. But, you know, it's Nintendo's version of the Jackbox games, and I think that's really cool, and I think it's worth looking at just for that fact alone. And it uses the Joy-Con in really interesting ways, you know, something that a lot of developers haven't done too much of over the Switch's lifespan. So, Everybody 1-2 Switch doesn't deserve all the hate. So the next one is Dead Cells Return to Castlevania. Now, I am familiar with the Dead Cells series, but I've never played Dead Cells. However, I'm familiar with it, and the art style is beautiful. And then I heard that they're doing a collaboration with Castlevania. Like, what? I'm not even completely sure what this is. I don't know if it is its own full-fledged Castlevania game inside here, or if it's just like a skin. I have no idea, but I was waiting for the physical to drop on this, and sure enough it did, and then it went on sale. So I had to pick it up when that happened, but I'm very, very excited to play this. However, I think I'm gonna wait until after I replay Bloodstained. I love Bloodstained, and I've been getting an itch to go back and really play through it. I love that game. I played it on the Switch, so the performance isn't great, so I want to get it on the PlayStation 4 because performance is much better and it doesn't look quite as ugly, but it's such a good game and it deserves so much more attention. So, Dead Cells, but play Bloodstained. So the next one is Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Houses. This was $10, again, leading up to Black Friday, and I had to pick it up for that price. I have not played through 3 Houses. I have played through Engage, and it's one of my favorite it's probably my favorite Fire Emblem game of all time. And Fire Emblem Engage is just wonderful. 3 Houses I've heard is wonderful as well. I'm gonna wait till I play through that before I crack this open, but I heard good things about this. So I'm excited to eventually get into this, though it may not be for a while since I've had a lot of Fire Emblem this year, and I'm kind of taking a break from Fire Emblem for a little bit. Samba de Amigo. It has been 20 years since the last Samba de Amigo game came out. Longer? Maybe not as long? I don't know. But it's so nice to see Samba de Amigo back in the spotlight. This was a cheap pickup. It was 20 bucks. And then the next week it went even cheaper, so I kind of flubbed on that. But I got the Switch version because you can use the Joy-Con as like little maracas, so that's kind of fun. It might be a fun party game. Probably won't break into this anytime soon. I'm not super big on these kinds of rhythm games, but you know, I had to pick it up. I have to support Sega and them bringing back these old IPs because I want them to stay with us and I don't want them to forget about them for another 20 years. And I heard it was decent. So this is a big one, Super Mario RPG. Now I'm currently in the middle of this, and I gotta say, I'm not enjoying it as much as I thought I would. I'm having a good time, no doubt about it, but I really was expecting to just get, you know, totally sunk into this world and the characters, but it's taking a bit longer for myself to really kind of get into the groove with this game. I'm about maybe 10 hours or so in right now, maybe 8, but I mean, the graphics are wonderful. I love that it feels like a 90s game. I mean, it is a 90s game, but I like that they didn't really modernize it too much. But yeah, it's not as in-depth as I thought it would be. I've never played the original, so, you know, maybe that was just, you know, wrong thinking. Maybe the game has never been, you know, revered as this in-depth RPG. But I'm finding myself not connecting to it as much as like the Mario and Luigi Superstar on the Game Boy Advance or the other games in that series. But nonetheless, I'm still having a good time. I do plan on finishing it. Maybe it'll pick up the further I go, but it is fun to see Mario, Peach, and all of them in this kind of setting, you know, and I'm so happy that they brought it back for, you know, a newer generation. I said you know so many times in the span of like 30 seconds there. But yeah, Super Mario RPG, a game I'm very excited to finish and play through. So these next several games here are from a site called VGP. If you haven't heard of VGP, they're a special Canadian retailer, I believe, and they have their own site, and they have these special deals with like publishers or something where they get special exclusive reprints of games. And I'm talking games going back to like the DS, you know, that have been out of print for so many years, a decade plus at this point. I don't know how they do it, but they get them. So they do a bunch of reprints, and they had a huge sale leading up to Black Friday for their 30th anniversary sale. So I picked up most of my stuff from them. They had some great deals. They had some amazing reprints of games that I have wanted for so long, and I finally have been able to get my hands on. So we're gonna start off really strong with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torn of the Golden Country, the expansion DLC on cart. And for those of you who don't know, this game is quite hard to come by for a long time, reaching prices of $100+. I actually used to own this, and then I sold it, not for $100, for like 30 bucks back in the day, because I didn't dislike Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I really wasn't getting, I just reached a point and I just stopped playing. So I never played the Golden Country, and I just sold that and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which I'm kind of kicking myself for. But I've heard great things about this. I've heard that this game is better than the actual Xenoblade Chronicles 2. In fact, Happy Console Gamer's wife even said that this is her favorite Xenoblade Chronicles game, I think. Either that or the first one, but I think this one might be her favorite. So maybe I'll dip into this as its own standalone thing. I don't know if I really need to play through Xenoblade Chronicles 2 to play this or get the most out of it. I hope I don't. But nonetheless, I'm very happy to have this. This is something I have been wanting back in my collection for so long. But yes, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the expansion pass. This is another one that is not hard to come by, but it never goes on sale that much for as low as I want. I just don't want to spend, I don't want to spend $20 even when this game is on sale for $20. Even though $20 is a pretty good deal. But this is the double pack, 2 games in 1, Super Monkey Ball, Banana Blitz, and Sonic Forces. And what a unique thing here. I think this is going to be collectible one day. Back in the 90s, Sega actually did something very similar to this on the Sega CD. It was the Sega CD double pack, where it had 2 Sega CD games in one case, basically. And they just bundle them together for a reduced price, and that's what they're doing here. So I thought that was really cool. I also have not played either of these games. I've heard not great things about both, though I do know Sonic Forces actually has some positives about it. But they do have another one of these, and that has Sonic Racing, or Team Sonic Racing, and Sonic Mania. And that's one that I want to get as well, sooner rather than later, because I do think these are going to be relatively hard to come by. But yes, I got this for $10, $15 off of BGP. I think it was $20 Canadian, so maybe closer to $15 US. But yeah, super happy to have this. So this is a series that I have heard things about for years now. It's a cult favorite. You know, it has its own little cult following, and everybody swears by this series. They say it's one of the best RPG series of all time. So I decided to dip my toes because they were having a sale on this, and these games are kind of hard to find, even on Amazon, and I think these are probably going to be a little more expensive to acquire one day, so I decided to best pick them up now. So I got these two for about $40 US each, and that is Atelier Ryza, Ever Darkness and the Secret Hideout, as well as Atelier Ryza 2, Lost Legends and the Secret Fairy. Now, I don't really know anything about these. I just popped it in the Switch for like half an hour just to see what it looked like, and the graphics are really good for the Switch. I was quite impressed, but the music was really great too, from just the brief bits that I heard. Yeah, it's very anime. I'm not super into the very anime kind of style, you know, with the hyper-realistic features and all of that, but I mean, that's, you know, most of Japanese gaming at this point, it seems. But, you know, it looks charming. I don't know if I'll actually get into this series, but I figured it was good to have, and I've heard so many great things about it that if I have some spare time, I might give them a try. So that is all of the Switch games. Now we're going to delve into some kind of odds and ends. So for the Black Friday sales, I Am 8-Bit had a couple of sales, and they actually had some pretty good ones, and they were 50% off. So I got Mega Man X, the Super Nintendo Collector's Edition reprint kind of thing. And these normally retail for like, I think $80, something, it's kind of expensive. This I got for like 30 bucks. And at that price I figured it's worth it to have. I mean, the box is super cool. I am gonna open this, and I'm actually gonna make a little YouTube short about me opening this because there's a special rare cartridge in here. I think they made 8,000, 8,500 of these, and 1,000 of those have a special, really limited edition color cartridge. So look out for that on my channel. I'll do a little unboxing, but yeah, very cool. I'm not totally sure why they did this, since Mega Man X is not a rare game. It's not an expensive game either. It's very cheap on the original Super Nintendo. But for 30 bucks, brand new, and I get the experience of kind of opening up a brand new Super Nintendo game, I figured why not. So the other thing that was from the I Am 8-Bit was, actually, I'll delve into that in just a little bit. So this is really cool. This is a tarot card set. Now, I'm not into tarot. I have no knowledge on any of that stuff, but this is a special set. This was drawn, the artwork was done by Yoshitaka Amano, which is so cool. This is one of the coolest things I have seen. Just looking at the front, but this was from Japan. It's from 1996, and it comes with a book kind of explaining, you know, tarot and probably how to use this set. Again, it's in Japanese, I can't read it, but look at this artwork. So this is so cool, and I hope the glare isn't too strong on this, but there's just so much wonderful artwork, and it is phenomenal, and I'm so ecstatic to have this. I think I may end up getting a frame and maybe framing all of the cards in one frame, you know? Might be kind of cool. But yeah, this was super cool, and I'm so happy to have this. I love everything Yoshitaka Amano, his stuff, especially his older stuff, of just anything with his artwork is getting hard to find and kind of expensive, and all of that. And I have a feeling it'll stay that way, since collecting his stuff, exclusively his stuff, is kind of niche. But yes, the tarot card set by Yoshitaka Amano. Now, I went to Book Off recently, and I always like to pick up something small. usually when I go there. And they had this, it was $5. It was Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation, which is the 4th game in the Tomb Raider series. And it was supposed to be the last one. But yeah, $5, you know, I think that's a fair price. And it's always kind of fun to just go into a retail store, especially in New York City, and be able to purchase something, because that's hard to do sometimes with the prices that you see. So yeah, very happy to have this, and I do plan on playing this. I haven't played any of the Lara Croft games. I played some of the new ones that Square Enix put out like 10 years ago, but not very much of them. So yeah, very happy to have that. So these next ones are 2 eBay purchases, and these are 2 sealed, brand new Sega Saturn games. Again, I don't go out of my way looking for sealed games, especially old sealed games, but these were so cheap, I had to do it. One of these was like $7 and the other was 15, so I can't remember which was which. But one is Criticon, right here. It's a fighting game for the Saturn, and apparently it's really bad. It's not good. So it'll probably stay sealed. I don't plan on opening it. It's not a very expensive game, but I didn't pay very much for it. So yeah, always cool to add another Sega Saturn game in the collection, no matter what quality. And the next one is DEFCON 5, which looks ugly. I think it looks really gross. But apparently it's actually pretty good. It's made by Data East. And yeah, I've actually heard some good things about this game. It looks kind of like a Doom, Wolfenstein 3D kind of clone. But yeah, also probably won't be opening this, but still cool to have it in the collection. So continuing on with the VGP things, this is the last bit right here, or almost the last bit. So they had a bunch of 3DS and DS games getting a reprint, and they had a countdown on their Twitter, and I knew it was going to be gone in an instant, and they were doing different waves of stuff, and everybody was waiting for the retro 3DS DS reprint release. And sure enough, as soon as it dropped, everything, at least all the good stuff, sold out within like a minute, 30 seconds to a minute. I was lucky enough to get every single one I wanted except for one. It escaped my grasp and I was checked out within a minute. So as you can see by the top here, you can see these are some heavy hitters, and it's no wonder that it sold out instantly. These were all 40 bucks. It's crazy. Maybe a little more? No, I think it was like 40 Canadian, 45 Canadian, or maybe 40, I can't remember, but it was a really good deal. These are all brand new. So the first one is Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse. This is a pretty expensive 3DS game, and to have it brand new sealed is so cool. I missed out on the Shin Megami Tensei 4 series on the 3DS when it came out, and when I ended up deciding I wanted to play them, they were very expensive, and they weren't expensive for a long time, but as all of these Shin Megami Tensei games tend to do, totally rose in price, and it was just really expensive, but this one being especially expensive and probably the most expensive out of the bunch. But supposedly this is even the superior game over the original Shin Megami Tensei 4. This is a direct sequel of sorts. So I'm very, very excited to have this. I've wanted this for so long. And preceding that, I got Shin Megami Tensei 4 on the 3DS. Now I opened this, again, I didn't buy these to keep them sealed. That was not the intention. I actually planned on opening every single one of these. And I started off with Shin Megami Tensei 4 because that was the game I was most excited for. I have played through Shin Megami Tensei 3 and 5, both of which were very different from each other. I loved the tone of 3 more than 5. It was a much darker experience. However, it was very, I don't know, it seemed very linear, and there wasn't a whole bunch of stuff to do in there. So I wanted something more. I got something more of this one. There's so much to do in this game. I am hooked. I've put tons and tons of hours into this so far, and there's so much to do. I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface, but there's so many places to go, so many just morality choices, a lot of choices, and it's kind of stressy. Like, it causes a bunch of stress with me, but I'm having a good time regardless. This is an old school RPG dungeon crawler, and it feels good to play. It really does. But when I'm done with this, there is no way I'm jumping into the sequel, Apocalypse. I'm going to need a break because there's so much stress caused by this. But this is the inside of the reprint. I don't know if it originally came like this, but I'm assuming it did, just to see. Now, the one game that I missed out on that I had in my cart but sold out as I was checking out was Devil Survivor 1 for the 3DS, the remake of the DS. I had that originally on the Nintendo DS, and I think maybe the 3DS too, but I sold it, unfortunately, and I really wish I didn't. It's basically a turn-based, or strategy turn-based Shin Megami Tensei game, like on a grid. And I remember enjoying it from what I had played, but the one I did manage to get was Devil Survivor 2. I managed to get this one, thank goodness. I think this is the harder to get one. Or maybe it's, I don't know. But regardless, it's still hard to get. So unfortunately, I have to keep this sealed until I get the first one. And also, unfortunately, the cover art came completely lopsided, so it's a little ruined on the corner, which kind of sucks. I don't know if you can see it there, but whatever. I do plan on opening it at some point. Yes, very happy to have this in my collection as well. Now, the one I was not most excited for, I was most excited for the Shin Megami Tensei games, but this is a game I've been looking for a very long time, and I've almost picked it up on numerous occasions, but it was just a little too much for me. This was, I think this was 40 Canadian, so it was like $30 US. I got Metroid Samus Returns, the remake on the 3DS. Now, this isn't the special collector's edition as the CD, unfortunately, but I really did just want the game, and the game is kind of hard to come by. So yes, very happy to have this. It's a remake of the Game Boy sequel to the NES original. Metroid, is it called Metroid 2 on the Game Boy? I can't remember. But yeah, supposedly it's a pretty good remake. I played through all of Metroid Dread, loved it to death, and I've been waiting for another Metroid game, and I think this might be the one I jump into, either that or Metroid Prime. Haven't decided yet. So there were also 2 Nintendo DS games that got some brand new reprints here. These were super cheap. These were like $15 US. I got Valkyrie Profile Covenant of the Plume. This is a grid-based RPG strategy game in the Valkyrie Profile series. I don't really know much about it. I don't know if it's good, but I just wanted to have it because it was so cheap. And the same thing of Heroes of Mana. This is also a grid-based kind of strategy game. Yeah, it looks cool, but it's just really cool to have a sealed Nintendo DS game in the collection. So yes, very, very happy to have all of those. Now, moving on to one of my favorite parts of all these pickups videos is the Neo Geo CD games. I love the Neo Geo CD. I love it. I've been trying to pick up as many Neo Geo CD games as I can, but it's so hard, you know, because they very rarely pop up online. You never see them in stores, and the times you do see them online, they're usually from Japanese sellers, and they're super, super overpriced. Way over what like price charting has them for and whatnot. So yes, these 3 are very good prices, luckily, but again, it's just so hard to find these, so I don't ever end up picking too much of these up. But my Neo Geo CD follow-up video is coming, and I know I've been saying that for the past year now, but it is coming in the new year. That is going to be one of my priorities. But the first one here is Far East of Eden something something something. This is a fighting game, and for those of you who don't know, Far East of Eden is a very, very popular Japanese-only IP. It was an RPG series that first started out on either the TurboGrafx or the PC Engine or the Super Nintendo, one of the two. Or maybe something else, I don't know, but from that era. And it was very, very well received, and it has a cult following. Everybody in the US has been wanting them to make an English translation. They have not, but this is a fighting game based off of that series. Kind of, you know, think Smash Brothers or something like that. where it's just just them combining all the characters from this series into a fighting game from the time. But apparently this is really good. I haven't gotten a chance to play this yet since I got this recently, but it's a very good fighting game from what I have heard. The pixel work is amazing. The sprite work is stunning. It's beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful looking Neo Geo games I have seen. It is really, really just a looker. Now the next one, this is really exciting because it is not a fighting game. 95% of all of my Neo Geo CD games are fighting games. That's probably because 95% of the library is fighting games. But this is Sonic Wings 2 for the Neo Geo CD. It's also known as Aero Fighters 2 in the US, but the American version goes for much more. But this is a top-down shooter, basically. It's a very good one. It's from the arcades. I remember this. I remember playing it in the arcade and loving it. But yes, Sonic Wings 2. It's not a very expensive Neo Geo game either. So I think you can get it if you're lucky and you're searching. You can get it for about 50 bucks. Most of the time it's listed for like 70, 80 plus dollars, but don't pay that much. If you just wait and you're patient, you will find it for around 50 bucks or so. But yes, Sonic Wings 2. And the last one is another fighting game. Of course, this one is not as well received, but it was super cheap. It's like $10, and I don't know what it's called. There it is. But yeah, another fighting game. Not much to say other than apparently it's just pretty average. Here we got some modern stuff. These are all, again, pre-Black Friday deals. A lot of these were very, very cheap. So I got Marvel Midnight Suns, which apparently is a kind of a 2D, well, 3D fighter on a 2D plane. It was $10. I don't know anything really about Marvel. I got it because it was super cheap. But yes. This is the last VGP purchase. This is Odin Sphere Life Razor. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Odin Sphere. It's a very, very popular game that was released originally on the PlayStation 2. This is published by Atlas, and it is a beautiful, beautiful hand-drawn kind of art. Maybe hand-drawn digitally, I don't know. It's beautiful art, and all the characters are drawn, and it's really quite the looker, and apparently it's a really good game too. I haven't played the original Odin Sphere, as well as any of the games in this kind of series, but I do want this to be the first, so I do plan on playing this at some point. But it's always kind of fun getting another PlayStation 4 game. It's been quite a while. So, Namco, Bandai Namco had a huge liquidation sale. And they were selling games for like, and items for like $5, $10, $15 that were originally like $80, $90 plus dollars. So I absolutely had to take part of that. My big regret is picking this up because I didn't realize it was an online only game. Now, this is Dragon Ball The Breakers. This, I think I paid $15 for it. It came with the game, the steelbook, as well as a figure, like a little statue. And I was like, well, you know, that's a good deal. Yeah, I don't care about the Dragon Ball series. I've never seen it. I really shouldn't have picked it up, but I did. This was not from Namco. I actually got this from Amazon during their Black Friday sale, maybe a little earlier. This is the third game in the Atelier Ryza series. Yes, not much to say other than the graphics look good. But yeah, if I enjoyed the first game, then I will come to this at some point. Now this is from Bandai Namco. Now this is one that I've heard some good things about. I have not seen One Piece. I don't really know anything about it, but I've heard really good things about this game, and this is One Piece Odyssey, and it was the special edition, so I got this and the statue thing for like 25, 30 bucks. And it goes usually for a lot more than that. So I was like, absolutely. It's a PlayStation 5 game too, so that's fun. And yes, I don't know if I'll get to it. I do want to though. This is one that I am curious about. And the one game that I was very excited for on this Bandai Namco sale was Pac-Man World Repack. I love Pac-Man World. I played the second Pac-Man World on the GameCube all the time. I love that game. Never played the first, and this is a remake of the PlayStation 1 original. And yes, this was on there, and it also came with a really cool Pac-Man statue that's made of like chrome, actual like metal, which was super cool. I think I got that for 15 bucks, something like that. This sale was crazy, so I had to partake in that. Now we're gonna move into the vinyl section, Tales of Arise, the vinyl box set. And this was $20, $30, a steal. Comes with 4 discs and a bunch of the Tales of Arise music. I enjoyed Tales of Arise. It was not my favorite game. I think it was very average, a solid 7 out of 10. I listened to the music on this. It's not my favorite, but for $20, $30 to add a box set of a video game to vinyl, I mean, that's something you have to pick up. Elden Ring. I'm very, very happy to have been able to add this to my record collection. I love Elden Ring. Absolutely love it, like all of you, I'm sure. This was $20, I think. A steal. Comes with 2 discs, so it's not the full soundtrack. I don't believe, anyway. But yes, very, very happy to have this. I loved it so much more than Breath of the Wild, which I was not expecting. I didn't care for Breath of the Wild, but I was not expecting to like Elden Ring because of that. Yeah, the music in Elden Ring is epic, and it's haunting, and it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Now, continuing on with the rest of the records I picked up. So the majority of these were from the Materia records, and basically they put out a whole bunch of records. They're a publisher and they're a dealer, but they had a huge sale. I mean huge. Records going for as low as like $3 to $5 every hour. They would drop some new ones. The only catch is you had to pay for shipping for each drop, so you couldn't combine orders from the drop as well as other drops. So that kind of sucked, but even so, it was still significantly cheaper than anything else you could get from anywhere else. So the first thing I got was Moss. The piano selections. This is sheet music for the Moss game. I was so shocked that this even had this. For those of you who don't know, Moss is a game that started out on virtual reality. I think it was PlayStation VR, or maybe it was the Oculus Quest, or the Meta Quest. But it is a really charming 3D platformer where you play this kind of spirit thing who overlooks everything, and you control a little mouse. And you look around with the headset on. It's quite lovely, and it's really, really charming. And it's a good game. And the music is really good. That's ultimately why I decided to partake in this, and this is definitely foreshadowing something to come, but I do not have this in order. This is from I Am 8-Bit. This was $20. This is the soundtrack for Sonic Colors. I am so happy to have this. I've been wanting this for such a long time. I just didn't want to pay the full price, and then it kind of started going for more because it went out of print and all of that. I really do enjoy Sonic Colors. And I like the music too. Not my favorite soundtrack, but enough to get the record for sure. So this one is really lovely. This is Brass Fantasia, and this is a reprint of I believe a 1980s release by Studio Ghibli, and it's just a brass quintet of a brass quintet playing a bunch of movies from Studio Ghibli. It's quite lovely. I really, really do enjoy this. It sounds amazing, and it's so cool hearing these big orchestral pieces in a kind of revealing manner. You know, only 5 people playing these or this music, and it's really lovely. Really high recommendation from me. This was $10. I mean, that's crazy. They also dropped this, which I was super happy about. This is the 20th anniversary Monkey Ball. And I think this is a bunch of Monkey Ball games on this record, or maybe it's from the Monkey Ball compilation that they released on the Switch, PlayStation 4, all that. But yes, this was super cheap, $10–15, including shipping. I had to pick this up. I had to pick this up. Again, I mean, they were just having these for so cheap. I love the Monkey Ball series. I played it originally on the GameCube, and I mean, I fell in love with it. I'm a longtime Monkey Ball fan, and to finally have the music physically is super exciting. This is Brass Fantasia 1. This is the first of the two, the one I just previously showed you. Also an amazing record. This is Tales of Symphonia on record. Now, I just started playing Tales of Symphonia several months ago, then I kind of stopped. But I do love the music, and this was, again, like $20 or something like that, so I had to pick it up. But yeah, Tales of Symphonia. It's I believe a 4-disc. Yeah, 4 discs and lots of music on here, so super exciting to have. Power Stone. Never would I have imagined that they would be releasing a bunch of these old Dreamcast classics on vinyl. I mean, it's so crazy, but I'm so happy that it's happening. I've never played Power Stone. I've always wanted to, but the original Power Stone game is so expensive. Both Power Stone games are expensive, so I haven't had the opportunity to play these, but I really do want to. I actually haven't even listened to the music from the series, so super happy to have this so I can listen to it, well, when I eventually play the game at some point. Another $20 surprise, Mother 2. Wow. What is there to say about the Earthbound soundtrack? I mean, it is so good. It is 16-bit music at its funkiest and at its finest. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I've wanted this for a long time, but it usually goes for $40–50, which is still a reasonable price, but that's just, I don't want to spend that much. So to get it for $20 during the Black Friday sale was an absolute no-brainer for me. And finally here, in this pile, we got Moss 1 and Moss 2 on record. I did not think that Moss would be having its own physical pressing of its music. It deserves it. It 100% deserves it. But it's just surprising because I didn't think it was that popular. But I'm so glad that it's at least popular enough to get a physical pressing, because the music is great and the game is phenomenal, and more people really need to experience this series. And this is really beautiful, beautiful artwork here. I mean, it's all foil and very, very nice to look at. Now, that is not all. Of course, no. There is another company that had a bunch of record sales. Light in the Attic, I believe it was called. Either Light in the Attic or Respawned. I forget which company it was. Okay, so here's the pile here. But they had a couple of bundle deals in addition to 20% off. And the bundle prices were already significantly lower than what it would be to buy each one of these individually. So I got like both of these bundles for, geez, I think $90, something like that. And there's a lot of music here. So the first bundle they had was a Phantasy Star bundle, and I love me some Phantasy Star. So these are what came in the Phantasy Star bundle. I got Phantasy Star 4. This is a game I have not played, and I really, really want to experience Phantasy Star 4. But again, it is a very expensive game on the Sega Saturn, unfortunately. But I mean, look at this artwork. I mean, that is just so beautiful. So beautiful. But yes, really want to experience. This is a 2-disc soundtrack. So lots of music packed on here. The much less loved Phantasy Star 3. I did not enjoy Phantasy Star 3 at all. I played it for only a couple hours, but I just thought it was ugly and I didn't like the music that much, but it is a part of the Phantasy Star story, so, and the bundle, so I had to get it. But yes, just look at that artwork. Yeah, it speaks for itself. Speaks for itself. Another great one here, we got Phantasy Star 2. Again, what is there to say about this? There's so much, just so many good things to say about Phantasy Star 2. I actually just recently got Phantasy Star 2 on the Genesis, so I do plan on playing that soon. So I'm going to avoid listening to this until I start playing the game. But I'm having some troubles with the save battery, so I'm replacing the save battery before I actually play the game. But yes, I've heard great things about this and the music. It looks like a lot of fun and just, so exciting. And of course, it came with Phantasy Star 1. Just take in that artwork. Isn't that stunning? This has got to be my favorite artwork of the 4. Just beautiful. I love Phantasy Star 1. I've played through most of it. I haven't beaten it quite, but I'm very, very far. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I played it on the Nintendo Switch on the Sega Ages, but great game. But I already have Phantasy Star 1. But again, even the bundle for these 4 was cheaper than just buying 2, 3, and 4 on its own. So I had to get Phantasy Star 1 again as well. But you can never have too much Phantasy Star. Now the other bundle I got was the Breath of Fire series, and I just recently got Breath of Fire as well, and I'm changing the save battery and stuff on that before I play it. I heard Breath of Fire 1 is not the best, but I do really want to play it, and here we go. Now, unfortunately, this did drop on the Materia site that I was mentioning earlier with the Monkey Ball and all of that for like, gosh, $5 to $10 each for these 3 records, which is a better deal than what I got these 3 for, but oh well, I got a good deal on this in the bundle, so I'm not too upset. That's bound to happen. But yes, got Breath of Fire 1, Breath of Fire 2, and these are all like 2-disc soundtracks, they're huge, and Breath of Fire 3. I have not played any of these, but I am looking forward to doing so. Have you guys played any of the Breath of Fire series? I would like to know, genuinely. And which one is the best? I would also like to know that. Is it necessary for me to play them in order, or can I skip? Let me know. But yes, those are my pickups. That was a long one, but thank you guys so much for sticking through it. But I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and are having a wonderful start of the new year and an end of 2023, all that good stuff. What did you guys pick up? What was your favorite pickup that you had during the Black Friday and holiday season? I would love to know in the comments below. But here is to a wonderful and great 2024, and I hope to be much more of a presence this year than this past one. But also, I just want to give a thank you to all for sticking with me throughout this year, and since the beginning. You know, it really does mean a lot. This channel is growing slowly, but surely, and even at my nearly 700 subscribers, you know, it's such a, to me, it's a substantial amount, knowing that there are 700 people who are willing to follow this crazy person, and that is very humbling, and I am so grateful for that and for all of you. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one.